Sheriff D? I am welcome. It's because I'm wearing a business suit.
How would it, ma'am?
Yeah, it's because I got my power suit on. I don't even remember. I command that.
You watched Andy Meager last night. Just pull out.
Review order. Very long recess, but
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we pray this day for your ever enduring guidance. We ask you to cloak us in wisdom and fortitude, that we may dispense our knowledge and facts intelligently among all humanity of whom we serve. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Next, we will go to announcement of items discussed in closed session.
Members who went in closed session on existing litigation on the stone cage, the board will provide direction to staff. There are no report blocks.
Okay, agenda approval, addition, general deletion. I will announce that I'm going to be moving H2 up after public comment, so we can get that done, because I will be removing myself from the public hearing. So that will be done then, and I have a agenda request from Marlene Spencer on H2. Or I mean, right, D2, I'm sorry. On agenda approval. I surprise occasionally people. You just want to pass this up?
Well, I was gonna speak, but I'm just gonna do a handout.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to speak on Marty agenda approval addition or deletion? Do we have any changes? No changes. We have a motion to approve the agenda. A second?
I'll second.
Tom seconds it. Any discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Ayes have it. So now we will go to public comment. And we have Ken Bunch.
Kenneth Bunch, County Assessor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be here during the 10:15 time certain item on Williamson Act, but unfortunately I have to leave at about 11:15 to make it ready for an annual summons of assessors by the state board. At the last meeting I attended, there were some questions raised by board members about Williamson Act, so I thought I'd try to answer some of those questions while time allowed. I think Mr. Mossick wanted to know how many contracts there were out there. By board resolution, we look at contracts as per their unique owner. So if you own a piece of ground that's in Williamson Act and you and your brother own another one, even though they might have originated with the same contract 30 years ago when somebody else owned the property, that's looked at as two contracts legally. So the concept of unique owner, looking at it that way, we have 170 contracts that are active currently. We have 25 contracts that are in non-renewal. The active contracts are about 331,000 acres, so about a third of a million acres.
If I could make a point of order, I appreciate, the time constraint that Mr. Bunch is referring to in terms of his having to leave by 11:15, but I think given the nature of the agenda we have, if he wants to sit around and wait till 11:15 to leave, when I think most of the meeting will probably be done well in advance of that, I would recommend and prefer that he give this presentation at the 10:15 time period when we're slated. And the reason being is there may be other people in the audience, in the community, who plan to be here at 10:15 that would gain valuable insights with the information he's providing, that didn't realize that maybe 45 minutes before a scheduled hearing, then a presentation was being made.
I was gonna try to avoid 1265 information, but that's fine.
Well,
Pleasure of the board.
I think all this information, I think, you know, it's fine to use the public podium, but we can't have like a debate and a discussion on these issues, and we do have that on the agenda. It's the only item on the agenda. I guarantee you, the rest of the agenda will be done, and we'll probably be sitting here for 15 or 20 minutes waiting for 10:15 to get here so we could take up that item, and then, you know, I don't think it's gonna
That's fine.
be going till
Thank you, Jim.
11:15.
That's fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks for your comment, Jim. Dean Grouden, our wonderful sheriff.
All right, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Board of Supervisors. Dean Grouden, Sheriff Coroner. I've got a couple things here today. They're things we do each year. The first one is we're doing another drug take back. We do these every 6 months where we accept prescription drugs from the public. It's anonymous and no questions asked. It's just an opportunity for us to get prescription drugs out of medicine cabinets and destroy them properly. You know, we don't want people flushing down in their toilets and contaminating water systems and so on. It's this Saturday, October 26th, from 10 to 2. We'll have a couple of deputies out in front of Walgreens in Susanville. And again, it's been advertised a few times in the past as a buyback. We don't buy anything, but we take it. We take the drugs in partnership with the DEA. We actually, that afternoon after collecting them, we meet them over in Reno and drop those off with them, and they dispose of them properly by incinerating them. So we encourage the public to show up, and every time we host it, it's, you know, we can collect more and more each time. And then we have people in between the collection dates calling us about when the next one is. So the next one, obviously we have Halloween coming up. We have some Halloween safety flyers we're going to be getting out to the schools that are out in the county with some basic safety tips for children. You know, one of our biggest concerns is, you know, we have an active sex offender tracking system. You know, you can log in through our website. There's a link to get in there, and you can look at any sex offenders who we can release the information on. I mean, we can give you pictures of them, their cars, their addresses, their violations. So we encourage people, you know, before they take the kids out, to hop on our website, click on that link and look, and you can register in the system also and register your address, where you'll get email alerts if someone moves in within a certain proximity of your home. So, but this flyer I have here, we'll give out a few copies just so people can see, but we're really trying to get out the word about Halloween safety. There's lots of potential dangers related to it, but obviously we want our people to have a good time, have fun, and so these safety tips will help them stay safe. So. Any questions about any of that stuff?
I know our website.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Oh, I have a question. I have
Yes.
a question about the drugs.
You have a question? Okay.
Is it just pills, or I have some old cough medicine?
So it used to be just
Liquid?
pills, now we're taking liquid also.
Okay, and I didn't want to pour it down the toilet, but it is a prescription cough thing.
Yes, just bring it in. And what we do is, you know, people are concerned, a lot of people are concerned about confidentiality. You know, we separate the pills from the bottle, we put the pills in containers, and then if people are concerned about it, we'll sit there and with a black marker cross off their names off the bottles before we put them in the other one. But we destroy everything properly.
You don't want them coming in a plastic baggie or something,
No.
Ziploc?
No,
You
actually,
want
that's
them in-
technically against the law to transport.
Oh,
If you have prescription pills, you need to keep them in this prescription container they were issued in,
okay,
so they can be identified and so on.
okay. Can I put that on the website also?
Yes, ma'am?
With your picture?
I can just bring them into my hand loose.
No. I'm not gonna arrest you, Gary.
Security is
Is there anybody else that wishes to express a word on public comment?
I'll say one more thing, sorry.
Okay, you want to do one more thing?
Okay, we had a busy couple of weeks. You know, I've been concerned about the jail. I've been concerned about our capacity. Right now, last week, one day, we had 156 people in jail, and that's our capacity. Luckily, some of those were eligible for release in short order. But right now, I think today we had 149 in custody, and we have 8 people out on electronic monitoring. So we're really basically at that threshold where we're going to have to start making some decisions about what to do moving forward, but just wanted to keep you appraised of the situation.
How many out-of-county placements do you have?
Right now, I think we have 4. It's between 4 and 6. We sent some back last week to make some room. Obviously, we're sensitive, we're trying to get the revenue that we can, but obviously, if we have to house, our priorities are local offenders. If we have to keep them in jail.
That was the purpose of my question, that you answered.
Yeah, we're tracking that, and I'll be coordinating with the CAO related to that issue.
Okay, thank you, Dean. Okay, no more comment from the public. Then we will move to H2, which I announced earlier, we'll be moving up to after public comment, because I will be leaving the room on the public hearing on the Williamson Act contract, so what's you guys' pleasure? Marty, you want to comment on this? Or?
Members, there is a staff report in the agenda. The matter was put on the agenda last week. It details some of the procedures of our policy. First of all, technically, the vice chairmanship is not vacant. Supervisor Pyle was appointed or elected by the board of vice chairman. He's still the vice chairman presiding over the board of supervisors. So the technical vacancy is really in the chairmanship. And second, as far as I'm concerned, you're in full compliance with your procedures. There's only about 5 meetings left this year, and if it in your interest to wait till the first year to reorganize, I think you're fully compliant if that's what you choose to do.
Thank you. Oh, Larry?
I'd like maybe county council can also chime in on the legalities and.
Absolutely. Per your resolution, I believe that the terminology is the earliest. And so, with this board, I mean, we haven't had all 5 of you on a very regular basis yet for you all to take this action. So I completely agree with the CAO's assessment of the legalities. You're well within the compliance of your resolution.
Do you know of any other counties that have faced similar things that have kind of taken the path we're taking now?
There was, actually one of them, there was a death. I think it was in El Dorado. And they waited until they had a chance to convene as a board, discuss it, and elect their new vice chair, within the restraints of having to deal with all that as well. It's an unusual but not uncommon situation that we're in, so earliest is, a term that can be discretionary, but also you want all 5 board members here. Usually, you'd want all 5 board members when you put in these positions, filling these vacancies.
If I could comment, the last time the board has faced a similar circumstance was in 1997, in which the chair of the board that year was Lyle Lau, who ultimately was recalled by the voters, I believe, in October, but in August of that year, he basically, for all practical purposes, kind of ceased to function as a board member, kind of threw up his hands and walked away. He resigned as chairman of the board. I was the vice chair at that time, and I served as the chair, or acting chair. As Marty has pointed out, the vice chair becomes the chairman pro tem. And I conducted the board's business until October, and prior to even the recall being held, the dysfunctioning of the board was profound, and I made it clear that I wasn't interested in presiding over that kind of dysfunction, so I tendered my resignation as the chair, or the chair pro tem. I remained as the vice chair, and Brian Dolly's first year on the board was that year. He took office in January, and in October he was elected to be the chair for the balance of the year, so we actually held an election to elect a new chair. I remained as the vice chair. The following year he was chair for the entire year, and I was his vice chair and replaced him. So it's not uncommon. At any time during the course of the year, if 3 members of the board are dissatisfied with the functioning of the chair, if you follow Robert's Rules of Order, a motion to vacate the chair is always in order, and it takes precedent over all other actions and has to be disposed of. It's not debatable. It's not, you can't delay it or postpone it, and so you can change out the officers at any given time, and you don't have to necessarily do that as an agenda item. It can be done in the course of the meeting. So us electing a vice chair electing a vice chair to be the chair, recognizing in that right, today is in order. Electing a new vice chair to follow the vice chair becoming the chair would be in order, or just leaving it as is in order. I think it's the business of the board to work that out amongst themselves rather than having external parties trying to dictate to the board what they should or shouldn't.
And I would be willing to do any of those. If you guys wanna move me up to chair and elect a vice chair, or leave me in vice chair and put the chair in, or throw me out and not give me any, I'm willing to serve at pleasure of the board.
And then I just wanna speak to, I believe was this handed in to go along with this agenda item? You handed in something, was it?
Yeah, and when we get to a comment, I mean, I do have audience friends who wants to speak on H2, and we're on H2, so when we get done here a little bit, I would have a public comment.
I, Mr. Chairman, have no interest in being chair or vice chair, and if you are willing to stay on as chair, I have no problem with you doing that. I think electing a new vice chair to follow you being chairman, I would say if you follow the informal rotation pattern, there's no requirement that we have to follow a set pattern. It's what 3 members of the board decide they want, and pretty much determine today. But I think that the 3rd district, in this case, Mr. Wassick, would be the next one to, be the sacrificial lamb to go through the line and.
You wanna make that a motion?
I would move, Mr. Chairman, that we recognize you as chair for the balance of the year, and that Mr. Wassick be elected to be the vice chairman for the balance of the year.
Your second to that motion? So in discussion, Mrs. Spencer, you have to speak on H2. You still wanna speak on it now, or you know?
I'm in shock. I guess I have to overcome my shock of what you said and what you said.
I just had a question for you.
Okay.
I just, so the,
I haven't read what you handed out, because I've been too busy conducting the meeting.
it just says the board's rule of procedure, section 3A states that the board shall consist of 2 officers, a chairperson and a vice chairperson. So, I mean, technically, is it, are we within the legal, realm if that same individual can, is the chairperson and vice chairperson? Is this an accurate statement? I mean, I'm assuming this is to go along with this agenda item.
Have any of you read the rules, your own rules? Have any of you read them?
Yeah, I've got it right
I
here.
got it. Right here.
I'm looking at it again right here.
I got it right here. I last night, twice I went through, I got my agenda and again last night.
I keep a copy in my desk drawer.
I mean,
I believe you would.
that's, if the public's got a comment, you raise your hand and I will recognize you, and you will come to the podium and you will speak.
I was recognized and then I was interrupted, so I no longer have the floor, I am assuming.
Okay, you can give the floor up to Larry, and I'll come back to you, Eileen.
Is that,
Well,
I mean, obviously, you need a
3A,
chair and vice chair, but
right.
are we okay having a?
Absolutely, because there's
Same
also
person.
3B and there's also 3C. You don't get to choose one part of the law to enforce. It all goes together. C talks about filling vacancies, which is the situation we're in right now, and it talks about elect a new vice chairman at the earliest opportunity. So you don't just read one portion, you read all of it together.
Are you
And you are
crazy?
in compliance.
Thanks. The only reason I bring it up is I just think it's important to, it's part of the thing to, it's addressing it, so we're not just ignoring it, so.
Yeah. And it is part of the documents that Mr. Nichols provided today.
John, anybody else on the board have any questions? Eileen, I recognize you now.
Again, you are amazing.
Thank you.
You are an amazing and competent lawyer.
Let's don't do that. We have rules and we do not put down staff. I think I heard you use the word incompetent. I don't think we need to say that. Unless I misunderstood you.
You did.
Okay, I'm sorry if I misunderstood. I apologize.
I'm going to read this into the record.
Dear Supervisors, on September 24th, 2013, the chairperson, Lassen County Board of Supervisor Jack Hansen was removed from office and thus vacating the position of chairperson. Your rule of procedure, which you adopted, and you're bound to comply with, even though advice that you're getting says you don't have to comply with anything. It states the board shall, which means you must, have two officers, a chairman and a vice chairman. Unfortunately, Mr. Nichols, and I'm going to add county council, has given this board bad advice when he and she stated that this agenda item is board organization. It's a board organization issue, and that the vice chairman position is not vacant. It most definitely is vacant, and you are. It was confirmed just a minute ago saying this issue, H2, is about filling vacancies, and she's only correct on that point. You have a vacancy. Section 3C, filling vacancies. These again are your rules, and if you have copies, you can follow along, follow the bouncing ball. If the chairmanship becomes vacant for any reason, the office is to be filled by the vice chairman, which you've done. Irrespective of the length of time the vice chairman has had such office. If the vice chairman succeeds to the office which you have done, you can call it anything you want to evade compliance, but that's what you have done. You have succeeded to the chairperson. Can we help takes a strong objection to Mr. Nichols' false claim that a procedure exists in Resolution 12039, Rules and Procedures, adopted on August 28, 2012, that Supervisor Pyle is operating as chairman pro tem. There is no such provision. The Lassen County CAO Martin Nichols does not have the authority to create procedures for this body. Page 4 of your election of officers states, in the absence or inability of the chairman and vice chairman to attend a meeting. That includes both officers. Then, and only then, can a chairman pro tem be selected by the members present to serve in such capacity. He can't make up things that don't exist, which is what you're allowing him to do. I'm not going to allow him to do it, but you were never selected to be pro tem. You succeeded to the office of chairperson because of a vacancy, which is proper. Mr. Nichols does not have the authority to offer non-existent rules to this board. There is no procedure that allows the last board chairman to preside. He made that one up. That was pretty sweet.
You used
Well-
3 minutes, so it'll be winding it up.
Okay. I'm just going to finish getting this into rec. I just have a little bit more. While Mr. Nichols uses the term reorganization, it simply does not apply to filling vacancies. There are clear rules of procedures to fill vacancies, which obviously now you're not going to comply with your own rules. Mr. Nichols' statement, the board does have the option, if they so choose, to appoint a new vice chairman at any time they feel is appropriate. But this is not required by your adopted procedures. That's bullpucky. Mr. Nichols does not have the authority to alter any part of Resolution 1039. The vice chairman is elected, not appointed. Mr. Nichols has exceeded his authority and has done a great disservice to this board and the public by making false statements in his October 16th memorandum. It is mandatory to elect a vice chairman. We're going to see that today because you have nobody but you, and you're going to leave the room.
And I've taken care of that.
And so there is a need, there's always been a need
Okay,
for a vice chairman.
thank you for your comments. So I have taken care of that issue, that's why this agenda item is moved up above the public hearing. We have a motion on the floor, all in favor say aye. Opposed say no, the ayes have it. I am chairman, Larry is vice chairman. We will move on to unagendized reports by board members. Start off with Tom.
I'm having a meeting tonight in Doyle with the Rural Health Clinic involved, and Maureen and Jenna is gonna explain the process for the grant application, low interest loan application, and tomorrow in Pearl.
It's not like it's in the paper, so it's well advertised.
Good, and thank you, Maury, for your assistance on that.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Larry.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes, I did you first today, Tom.
I noticed that.
I forgot it.
Be sure to go to your toes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yesterday I attended LAFCO, Supervisor Chapman, and yeah, it's been, I'm looking forward to the, to that appointment and working with the guys. I've always found that division of government, interesting and very important,
Good when you got in.
Yeah.
You still got Tom, but it's okay.
Yeah, anyhow, there's always some good things on the horizon there with LAFCO, and I really enjoyed the coordination committee meeting last night. I think we got a lot done, and if you like that,
Go ahead, it was one of the best meetings we had. I'm so encouraged now, and I'm thankful to come together at the coordination committee, so go ahead.
thank you. Yeah, we had quite a full agenda and a really good participation from BLM, Forest Service, was pretty much a full attendance of committee members. One of the things that I did make the committee aware, or coordination council members aware of, was something that's come through the pipeline through RCRC, and as soon as Supervisor Allbout gets back, I'm sure he'll take up on that. But since the council meets only once a month, I thought it was good to share it with them. But basically what it is, through RCRC, they are requesting that the counties get in touch with the Department of Fish and Wildlife through the PILT, the payment in lieu of taxes, is in arrears quite a bit, and it affects Lassen County, quite substantially. We're owed $782,000. Basically, for quite a few years, the state hasn't been living up to their legal obligations with the PILT money for the Department of Fish and Wildlife. The total amount they're in the arrears for the counties that participate, this is lands taken out of the county by Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they're supposed to make the counties whole with the tax base was at the time. So what RCRC is trying to do is get all of us counties involved to they're setting up instructions, if you will, what to do. They're going to lobby the state to make good on the outstanding amount, and then put the yearly amount, basically, which for all the counties involved is about $1.5 million back into their budget, so each year the counties are made whole. And like I said, it affects Lassen County in the amount of just about $67,000 a year. So we had a nice discussion on that, and that has come up on a previous council meeting where we did discuss like the no net loss type of thing, where we take lands from the county that end up into government agencies, and we get no tax. So in any case, Aaron will be following up on that. But all in all, it was a good meeting, and I encourage any of the public if on those they're in the evening, so they're a little easier to get to, but they're always really informative, and it just keeps gaining momentum, and we're moving along quite nicely there. So that's about all I have.
I might add one thing there, think about on the Secure Rural Schools money. It was brought up that the government failed to get that passed by the deadline, and now there is no Title II and III money, there's all Title I money. Is that anything on that?
Not that I'm aware of, I've heard that they had that.
Maybe you might look into it, and, it was something that evidently just happened, the extension had to be done by September 29th, but it had to be due on the 30th for the Title II and III, and it was a little unclear and a little sketchy, so, you might wanna check in on that.
I've seen something they do it, I thought they'd acted, I'll follow up, yeah.
And maybe this is a rumor, the person wasn't real clear on details, you know. Jerry, Board Supervisor, Bird was, he